Hi everybody, welcome to Christy Dawn's Cooking, and today I'm going to share with you one of our family's favorites, and that is melt in your mouth eggnog cookie. I hope you stay with me. I'll show you exactly how I make these incredible cookies. So for this recipe we need butter, flour, baking powder, salt, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, granulated sugar, 2 egg yolks, brown sugar, vanilla extract, rum extract, eggnog, of course, and powdered sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up and show you how I make these. Okay guys, so I'm all set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is take 1½ sticks of softened butter. I'm going to go ahead and get those going in my mixer. Remember, use your little plate for a spoon rest. Go ahead and get those started. And I also turned my oven on to 350 degrees, so that's preheating while we're working on this. So next, we're going to combine all of our dry ingredients. So I have 2 cups of flour in here. Make sure that you fluff your flour because we want to make sure we have a really good, accurate measurement. So don't pack it in. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda, baking powder. And then I have a ½ teaspoon each of ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and salt. So ½ teaspoon of each of those. Okay. Go ahead and get this blended well. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to set that off to the side. So we're ready for that. This is looking good. Go ahead and turn this up a little bit. So we want to get this pale and fluffy. So I'm going to bring you guys over so you can see into the mixing bowl. I'm going to stop it for a second and scrape down the bowl and the beater. These cookies truly do melt in your mouth. There's a reason why they're called that. They are so good. Turn up another one. That's doing better. Okay. I think that's good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in a ½ cup of granulated sugar and a ½ cup of brown sugar. And if you want to learn how to make your own brown sugar, go to my baking essentials video, and I show how to do that. get that going. Okay, so while that's mixing, I'm going to bring you over here a little bit closer. I'm going to show you how to separate an egg, because we just need 2 egg yolks, not the whites, just the yolks. So what I do is I go ahead and try and give it a swift, not too hard, but a nice, sharp crack. And don't ever crack on the bowl, because that, the shells can get in there and everything. You always want to do it on a hard surface. So I'm going to go ahead, crack it open, try to do like a half of a shell. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put it on one side, and then slowly kind of move it over to the other side of the shell. I'll try to get that piece off. There we go. And go back. Okay, and there you go. Whoops. Just plopped him in a little bowl. One perfect little egg yolk. I'm going to do that again. I think I might need a bigger bowl. I'll try it, see what happens. We are right there. Wow. And drain it a little bit. This one. That one. And there we go. 2 egg yolks. Perfect. I'm going to carefully move this over here. Okay, we'll come back to the mixer now. Now that you know how to separate an egg, go ahead and scrape down the bowl again. Remember the old mixers that we had where the bowl would turn? I kind of miss those because it was so easy to scrape down the bowl. Not that I don't love my KitchenAids, I do. Man, that was so easy to do that. Okay. So now I'm going to get that going a little bit more. I'm going to turn it down to stir, and I'm going to add in 1 egg yolk at a time. 1. And I'll wait till it's blended well. And the second one. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in our extracts. We have in here 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of rum extract. And add that in. And now 1/2 cup of eggnog. Slowly add that in. My family loves eggnog. This is actually my dad's one of his favorite cookies. I'm excited to make this for him. I'm going to stop, give it a good scrape again. Help to combine it all. Get everything off the paddle. Okay. Continue to mix this until it's all well combined. Okay, that looks good. So now on low speed, we're going to add in the dry, a little bit at a time. Add a little bit more. Add a little bit more. And now we'll just finish off with the last bit. Go ahead and stop it. Again, scrape everything down. Oh, you can really smell the eggnog and the rum and the vanilla. It smells so good. Okay. I'm going to give this, after I scrape everything down, one more good turn, and I think we will be good to go. Okay, that looks wonderful. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and get everything set up and show you how these are baked. Okay, everybody, I went ahead and set up our cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper on a hot pad, as well as a cooling rack. I went ahead and had that set up when they're all ready to come out. So the recipe calls for a heaping tablespoon, and I think the big cookie scoop works perfect. I will put a link below for my good friend Kristen. You all heard me say that. She'll help you with any kind of Pampered Chef needs that you have. So I just go ahead and scoop it out, scrape it off so I have a level, and just give it a push. Perfect. So I'm going to do 8 on a sheet. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, 7. And one more makes 8. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven, and they're supposed to bake between 13 and 15 minutes. I will let you know how long that they took to bake when we come back. So while the cookies are baking, I thought we'd go ahead and make the eggnog icing for the cookies. So we first want to start with that final stick of butter. So softened butter. Oh, let me get my whisk. I'm going to throw a whisk attachment on this time instead of the paddle. So I'm going to put a little bit of air into it, make it a little fluffy since it's going to be icing. So go ahead and get that started. Okay, that's looking good, light and fluffy. Then I'm going to go ahead and add into this a half a teaspoon of rum extract. And 3 tablespoons of eggnog to start off. You might need to add more depending upon the consistency. There's 1, 2, 3. Turn that up a little bit. Make sure this is all well blended. Give it a quick scrape. And then we're going to add in 3 cups of powdered sugar. And remember when we did the cutout cookies, how the powdered sugar, just a little bit of liquid really reduced it? That's going to happen here as well. This looks great. Okay. So I got 1 cup there. And 2 cups in the big bowl, making 3. We're going to let this go for a little bit. Remember, powdered sugar, flour, make sure that you start it on low, or else you'll have a mess. Ask me how I know this. Turn up a little bit. Looking good. I'm going to give it a scrape. Oops. I think we might need another tablespoon of eggnog to make it a little bit more spreadable, because the cookies are very, very delicate. It's like a shortbread, so they're going to want to crumble pretty easily. So I am going to add 1 more tablespoon of eggnog. See how it does. Oh, that looks so much better. More drops. Okay, that looks so good. Can you all see that? See how pretty that icing is. So that's gonna be perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna set this aside, clean it all up, set it aside, and then when the cookie's completely cool and we're ready to ice, I'll show you how I do that. So they just came out of the oven and they look absolutely beautiful. And they baked for about 15 minutes. You can see how pretty that is. I think they're a little big. So I think the next batch I'm gonna make them maybe about 3/4 that size. I think I'd be a better cookie. Not that my boys will complain. They'll eat these just as is. But yeah, I think I just wanna make a little bit smaller. And you know, this stuff happens in the kitchen all the time and you just kind of go with it. So, it could have been maybe my baking powder because it was new. Maybe that's why it's making them get a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So when these all come back, I will come back when everything is cooled. I'll show you the smaller cookies, what they look like, and I'll show you how I frost them. So the second batch of cookies are done, and I did make them smaller, so I think these are a much better size than the ones before. They could actually go even smaller. So I would think maybe like a, just under a tablespoon per cookie. The recipe called for a heaping tablespoon, but I just think that's just a little bit too big. So I'm gonna go ahead and ice these now with our yummy icing that we made. So what I'm gonna do is just use, I have a small offset spatula. Just put a little bit on. Push it around. It doesn't have to be perfect. We want a nice, beautiful homemade cookie. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of ground nutmeg, just a little bit. There. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more for you. Put them on a cute Christmas plate. That one might have a little bit too much. Make it. Just make sure that when you decide to ice your cookies that they're completely cool, or else you will have puddles of icing on your plates. So, and then just a little bit of nutmeg. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'm going to finish these up. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. They're absolutely delicious. Like I said, they just melt in your mouth, especially if you are an eggnog lover, like we are. So anyway, I hope you all take good care. And oh, before I leave, can I just say a big shout out to Leanne, my girlfriend Leanne Eller, and to my parents for the beautiful, the beautiful apron that they got me, that they made for me. Can you all see that? Leanne is a graphic designer. If anybody needs any kind of graphic design work done, please contact her. She is amazing. She is so creative. Anyway, you can reach her on Facebook at, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to link it down below. So you all, if you all would like to reach her, I think it's like Art Impressions by Leanne. So anyway, take good care and hope to see you soon.